So I'm super excited to show you this one. It is a wicked awesome craft, and anytime I take this book anywhere, everyone's like, oh, where did you get that? And I'm like, I made it. So first thing you're going to do is saran wrap the outside cover and the back cover, or like the full outside cover, and then you're putting a piece of saran wrap about mid between the two stacks. And then you're going to glue all around the outside of both sides, and then you're going to press it overnight so then it dries. When you open up the book, you'll have obviously the two cover ends, and then you'll have a page in between that's exposed. You'll see in the end, it's a little bit confusing now, but you'll understand when I actually show you the full book when it's done. Or you can skip to the end and then skip back. Next thing I did is I painted this I painted the black cover with a brown paint. I didn't have very much of this paint left. It was just an acrylic paint, and it was kind of more or less a base. I went out and bought a black, or no, why do I keep saying black? I went out and bought a brown Martha Stewart paint after, and then went over it. The Martha Stewart paint covers the best, I think so at least, and it was a really nice deep chocolate color. You'll see the difference between this and when I start painting the next layer. After the paint dries overnight, you're going to dry brush a little bit of black on the corners, the edges, just to kind of give it that dirtier look, that rustic look like I do with everything. And then you get to start drawing on the lines. I used a ruler, and this is actually a Sharpie oil paint pen. I bought this at Michael's. I think they're $6 or something like that, but if you have a coupon, which you always go to Michael's with your coupon, then you get it like an additional 40% off. For the pattern wise, I just looked at a picture online and then did it from that. You can see in the bottom corner, that's actually the first book I did, so that's what I'm looking at for this one. But you can go online and they're everywhere, and then you can kind of just use your ruler and do it this way. I highly recommend getting these oil pens, or these oil paint pens. The first time I did it, I used acrylic paint with a paintbrush for every single line, and it took forever, where this took me not even a night to do on these lines, and it looks, I think, even better than the first time. So, there's my helpful hint with that. So I'm very sad to say that I'm a big freehander. I freehand almost everything. It's very rare to actually see me use a ruler or use a tool to draw out lines or to get a shape of something. I never use pencils. If I'm going to paint something, I just go straight to it and paint it. And if I mess it up, there's always something that can be fixed. You can paint over it or whatever. Just this cuts down on the time that you're spending drawing out all the lines in pencil and then going over them. So a lot of this stuff I did freehand. Like I said, you can go online, find the pattern, and it's not like it's super technical. It's very easy. So you can see I've been using the yellow pen. I did do it on with yellow pen first, and then I didn't really like the way that it looked, and so I actually went over it with acrylic paint after. Um, the pen was a lot easier, but it just was having that like translucent look, and I really wasn't a fan of it, especially over top of the brown. So it was kind of neat. I was able to do out the outline in the yellow pen, and then I went over it in acrylic. It did take a little bit more time, but at least I learned from my mistake there. Welcome to my bathroom. It is way too dark outside to film in my craft room because our light in our house is terrible. So this is the only place that you actually can see my face. Plus, see this beauty. The Once Upon a Time book. It is done. Actually, this is the first one I made. This is the one you saw in the tutorial. Da-da-da, da-da-da. So there's a few differences between the first one I made and the one I made in the tutorial. For one, they were two different books. I went to Value Village, and I hate shopping at Value Village, but they have the largest book selection. I went to Value Village and I bought Injustice Served book. I actually felt bad because on the inside, the author, Raymond Kulios, had signed it, but I went over it anyway, so... Thank you, Raymond Kulios, for your book. I really enjoyed the shape of it. This book, the original one, was, I think, Vancouver the way it is now and then or something like that. But you're generally looking for this kind of shape. And the thickness is really up to you. So the other difference between... Oh, shit. See, look how dark it is. The other difference between the two books is that in the original, I had put... this on the inside. So this is just regular computer paper. I went on Google and I looked up a scene from Once Upon a Time, the story, and then I printed it out, glued it on. The same thing with this is a story of Snow White. I just printed it out in a Word document and glued it on. And then I used like a tea bag to give it that aged kind of look. You can use brown paint as well, but you can see there's still paper lines from where I glued it on, but it looks pretty cool, so I really don't care. And plus it's for me and not for anyone else, so that's what it is. Oh, and then on the inside, Miss Jennifer Morrison herself has signed it. I saw her at the VanCon, and she signed it for me, and she actually was like, "Ooh," and I'm like, "I made that." So that's the differences. Oh, and then one more thing is that I aged this one by rubbing it on a curb. You can see the curb marks, and the same thing on there. I actually just took it and I scratched it on the curb. I mean, I think it looks neat because it gives it a little bit more of a weathered look, but you know, you don't have to. It's kind of cool seeing it nice and new as well. So this is the new one that I just did in the tutorial. You can see the black is done by an oil paint pen. And then the yellow was done by a yellow oil paint pen as well, but then I went over it in yellow paint because I didn't quite like the color of the yellow that came out. It was just too vibrant. You could even tell the difference between the two of these. This one is a lot brighter than this one, and this is toned down from the paint pen. But I hand painted this one completely, and it took me, I swear to God, 3 months, where this one took me maybe 3 days. And you can't really, I mean, I think the bottom one looks way better because it's all straighter, right? So the paint pens were definitely a win in this scenario or this case with this project. I did do the book backwards, so really the book is supposed to be this way. You can see on the front, I don't know if you can still tell, you can't really tell on the camera, but you can kind of make out the Injustice Served that was deckled onto there. So if you buy a book that has something on it, use it for the back and flip it over. No one's going to know, especially if you end up gluing in the papers on the inside. This one doesn't have it on the inside, but I will be gluing them in. So if you glue the papers in, no one's going to know. So be smart about it and change the book on the other side. But anyway, this is it. Total cost was really just the cost of the pens and the cost of the book, and the book was $5.99. Like I said, I don't like shopping at, what's it called? Value Village, because they're bloody expensive. I mean, $5.99 is quite expensive for a book that they got for free. I mean, they could have charged me 99 cents. It would have been a little better for me. But anyway, this is what it looks like. And if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to ask. I have no problem helping you out if I can. And that is that. You have your Once Upon a Time book. And I hope you enjoyed as much as I enjoy mine. Have a good night, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will be posting new videos whenever I can. And if you have anything that you want to see me make, post it in the comments, because I definitely can try if I have time. We'll see. I don't know. Okay, goodbye.